Her violet fumes cascade across these living rooms. At 1600, at the top of the stairs, Ida McKinley is spitting her prayers. Forgive tonight this strange attack. Forgive my eyes for rolling back. Dear William, this sickness is a secret. Keep me under wraps. Prop me up with pillows, darling. Cancel the season. This ill will stains my matted lace. This red dread dots my pretty face. The gossips cluck. Mulattoes spy. Madwoman. Syphilitic. Catholic. There is there no place for me? I'll not offend our dinner guests, dear William. Tonight, recite our messy grace, then throw the napkin on my face.
You're so very popular. What does your future husband have to say?
Carol, Anne, you're so very impatient. The excitement of preparing for our grand sweeping tour of Europe, alongside with these daily appeals from the dear Major, are almost too much for me. Put William off a bit.
C'est très amusant. Oui, big boy.
Rutherford's been most encouraging. He has been all along. Aide-de-camp, county prosecutor, the whole political gamble. Would I have ventured quite so far on my own? Delicious.
And if Mr. Hayes should become president?
In regards to my future, why didn't you ask him that question tonight at dinner? Darling, you'll love Washington. The House of Representatives.
Fight for the vote. Speak up, speak out. Slow day. Can you spare me? I want to go to the groceries.
Will you be at the Episcopal social tonight? We can share a plate of cream.
I'm not welcome.
You joke.
I'm an atheist.
I don't believe that.
I'm a free-thinking, liberal, intelligent woman. I'm everything that rankles Mr. Chesterfield.
My husband doesn't attack you personally.
Attacking the movement, attacking all women en masse, is ironically easier than attacking me, Judith, or any other member of the National Women's Suffrage Association face to face. So join with us, perhaps to equate themselves.
You've been so. All this anger.
My anger is seemingly all I have. And forgive me for the lecture.
Of course.
Our sisters desert us. We fight to part with these ineffectual flyers. The women of Brooklyn, a large majority, do not as yet seem anxious to assume all the rights and freedoms allowed our men, and that makes me angry. We have to get angry.
We have to awaken our sleeping comrades.
Go attend to dinner. Find the little fight in you. But go home. Truthfully, I don't begrudge you that.
It's a girl. Sweetheart, it's another girl.
And now her mother. Oh my, all so sudden.
speaks for itself. He served in Congress for 14 years. Another 4 as the highest governor. The support of high tariffs that witnessed domestic growth. His chairmanship of the House Ways and Means Committee. The McKinley tariff alone demonstrate his commitment and his appeal.
The platform.
Continued high tariffs and maintaining the gold standard.
Brian and the Democrats are pushing a bimetallic standard.
And they, gentlemen, along with your help, will push William McKinley right into the White House.
Ida, we've won.
The 25th President of the United States.
Bartlett woman has stirred up my dander.
How she has Ida's confidence, I don't know.
Perhaps she drugs her during their parlor chats. The First Lady? Have you seen her shake? She loses
really
all
don't
control.
think we ought to
She
discuss
can't
this.
focus. She can't hear
Mrs.
what you're saying.
McKinley's seeking treatment.
She certainly can't understand what you're saying.
I really think we ought to be kind.
It's very upsetting.
She puts all her emotional eggs into one fragile little basket.
It's a little late to concern ourselves with the issues. Did McKinley discuss the issues?
So what I'm hearing is that you've lost face with the Republican Party.
I fought in the Republican Party.
How did you get in?
With all this fuss, I wouldn't be surprised if Lottie Collins were singing Tararaboonie.
Heavens, no. Perhaps a private showing of Swan Lake, though.
Oh, she won't shut up about that. You'd think she was Tchaikovsky's muse.
How she makes it through a performance, I don't know. She didn't come out of her house the entire campaign.
Mint tea, I do believe.
Another dry White House.
No lemonade, but Lucy was quite a McKinley proponent. The haze.
I don't know. Cleveland kept coming up like yesterday's lunch. Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland.
Still, William McKinley.
Haven't we heard enough from Ohio?
Another inauguration.
My great-grandfather, if you can believe it, was on the podium in Washington this morning.
And I'm sure neither had to endure the display that greeted William this morning. William parading for the vote. Indeed.
I'm certain she'll change the drapes.
One would hope.
Mrs. Cleveland was so entrenched in Biedermeier.
I have to expect plumes, you know. The Autobahn was going to be hearing from me.
Art Nouveau is a bit too radical for our Ida.
She'll probably crochet them herself.
The drapes?
We're being made to wait again.
You know, oddly enough, it all worked to William's advantage, conducting the campaign speech from their front porch. It made him out to be entirely devoted to her.
Then she is incapacitated?
Is she confined to a wheelchair?
No.
I hear she's a hopeless cripple with insanity.
Carol Ann said that's just not true.
Rumors. I heard she's a Catholic fanatic, an English spy.
A mulatto?
And I've heard she's a victim of wife beatings, that her devoted husband is anything but.
The president?
It's all gossip. Rather we soil the president or the presidentress. All gossip. Is that right, Mr. Cathcart?
We are of the opinion that it would be harmful to answer these slanders on Ms. McKinley's character, that it would actually do harm.
Carol Ann, you should read Miss Hannah's official biography on the First Lady. It should answer certain questions for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President and Mrs. McKinley.
She's fine. She's walking. She's utterly beaming.
Doctor, is such a heavy dosage necessary? You know best. Darling?
Major?
You're scrubbing your jewelry. Darling, it looks as if we will have to respond to Spain's mistreatment of the Cuban insurgents after all.
I was hoping we'd avoid involvement.
As was I.
Then why...
The USS Maine has sunk in Havana Harbor.
Maine? Dear William, don't leave me for some godforsaken war.
Spain was talking major concessions, but the country wanted military action. You referred the authorization to Congress for such military intervention. Cuba was freed quickly. We were then faced with the territorial aggrandizement of Puerto Rico, the Philippines, and other territorially important islands. We must not let these places fall into the hands of our enemies. Therefore, they must be secured as U.S. dependencies.
I went to leave a message with you this morning at the hotel, and, you've registered under your maiden name. On my way out, I gave a note to the doorman, and I said, oh, could you please give this to Mrs. Walter Cabbage? And he looked into the directory, and then he said that I had been mistaken, and that you weren't registered there, and Well, we rallied for quite a while, and then all of a sudden I thought, maybe Lucy had used her old name, Reed Bartlett again.
Yes,
I mean, it
Lucy
frustrated me
Bartlett.
so. I mean,
Why
the only
should
thing I
things
could think
have
of, are you getting a divorce?
No. Of course, Walter may feel differently. He's unhappy. I've chosen to be celibate.
But I mean, your maiden name.
You didn't attend our ceremony, but I thought my correspondence...
Well, our calendar was very full.
Clear. I've chosen to retain my maiden name.
Well, your letters were quite colorful, and I felt compelled to keep them for Mr. Sanger.
It's been my attempt to protest the unequal laws applicable to married women. I've taken my lead from Lucy Stone of the AWSA.
I'm not familiar.
She's known as Mrs. Stone, not Mrs. Blackwell. Her work with the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society strongly influenced Wallace's career.
An abolitionist? Well, Lucy, I think we've strayed quite a bit since Brook Hall.
Well, we were never terribly close.
Revolution, the new tabloid from the Stanton camp, has made my husband upset, so... Did you submit my subscription?
We're fighting for your best interest. Since you share the banker's bed, I had hoped you could sway his opinion.
I think this meeting has been a mistake.
A vindication of the rights of women. I also sent you that. Ha! A declaration of sentiments. Don't our grievances mirror yours?
Don't assume such things.
Though their customs are not always like ours, I feel we should strive for a true interracial social experience with the islanders.
Trying to flush out our Trump, Mr. President?
Our visit was really quite something.
Have you been to the Philippines, Mrs. Taft?
Oh, please call me Nellie. Yes, I found it exhilarating. When you see a beautiful, brown, slim, native, naked, save for short swimming trunks, come gliding down a high white breaker, poised like Mercury, erect on a single narrow plank, it looks delightfully exhilarating.
Helen, it's your turn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I haven't been very much help to my partner.
Not to worry.
What's Trump? Hearts.
I understand the Philippine Commission has felt strongly that the Philippines be allowed to follow through on their religious beliefs.
Helen.
We must uplift and civilize and Christianize them.
Mrs. McKinley talked 10 to the minute about converting the Igorots.
The Northern Luzons are wonderful people. Fascinating.
I've approached the Presbyterian Board of Missionaries to see what can be done.
Ida has taken quite an interest in the Philippines. As a matter of fact, she is directly responsible for the appointment of a DAR official to the Welfare Commission. Truly, her incessant talk about converting the Filipinos has led directly to my decision to retain them.
Many congressional leaders are opposed to such imperialism.
I don't think we're progressing here. Euchre is one of her favorites.
So I stirred it all together, and there was this llama meat, and it's so big, you have to slice it into tiny little bits, and you add noodles and some curry. Those Far Eastern people love that curry, and it's very hot and spicy, and it's delicious. And Mr. Taft, I believe you just loved it.
I have to admit, it was the tastiest dish I've ever had.
Well, dear, you've always been so sweet about my dinners.
Who played that card for me? I've just come from a lecture given by Mr. Havelock Ellis.
Havelock Ellis? What is he with you?
Should I know him, Lucy? He's the father, so to speak, of sex advice literature.
Really, Lucy, I don't think that this kind of talk is appropriate.
He's one of the most influential sexologists. His first volume on the studies of the psychology of sex was printed in 1897. He began his studies as a doctor in 1880.
Don't upset her.
He began writing on a range of subjects, literature, science, religion, philosophy,
Really,
and
Mrs. Reed Bartlett, this is the White House.
He then became involved in the radical political, moral discussions emerging with the socialist revival.
biological assumptions about the innate differences between men and women govern his thinking. He hopes to eliminate prejudice so that men and women's real sexuality can emerge.
How charming.
He believes that men's real sexuality is aggressive and sadistic, and women's to be passive and masochistic.
I agree.
Press William for the vote.
I'd like to. I feel strongly that we must indeed.
Ida, I just wanted to salute you. And salute you all in what the press is heralding as quite an event.
Yes, thank you.
The first such gathering of women in the White House. Recall Seminary must be very proud. I certainly am honored. So many very cultured ladies.
I'm certain they're all very anxious to meet you. Lucy Ray Bartlett, Jenny Hobart.
Good afternoon. Ida, might we make our rounds?
Lucy, please excuse me.
So, this is how Washington lets its hair down.
Teddy helped the ticket, but it was our fine performance last term that assured our win. Another pair of bedroom slippers, Miss McKinley. I heard the Ladies' Aid Society benefited from the other 3,500 pair.
Crocheting is Ida's surest defense against ennui and depression.
Ida, I'd like you to meet a good friend of mine, Mrs. Maxey of Texas.
That's a long way off. I'm sorry?
She said that was a long way off.
Yes. I've had a great deal of experience.
Ida, I hope you didn't feel any effect of the cold at your trip to Grant Memorial Park in New York last week.
No. I've had a great deal of experience. My husband was in Congress for a long time, and then he was governor of the state.
Hannah is planning a cross-country tour.
Canceled the season.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
What?
He hath trampled out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on.
It's right.
Glory, hallelujah. Hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Probably. Even though it was under a different name.
To the amazement of her physician, as well as her attendants, Mrs. McKinley held up surprisingly, and her physical condition occasioned little anxiety.